to Bets. With me, as always, Phil, Ezra. Ezra, I'll start with you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. I'm dealing with an injury, but we're getting through it. It's normal here.
Aren't we all? Phil, how about yourself?
I'm doing good. You always injured. I'm sorry.
He's just old.
Yeah, you getting there.
Yeah, he was telling us a story before we went on air, but we're not going to talk about it.
I was like, watch that story.
Making this semester's HTF Bets debut is Mr. Dougie Smebby. How are you doing today, Doug?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to be back on my favorite show. I love talking money and gambling lines.
If it's your favorite show, why is this your first time on this semester?
I don't know. I'm a busy guy this semester.
No. He just wants to talk hockey. And if we're going to talk hockey, we're going to pitch it right to Doug. So for this segment, everyone's going to be picking who they think is going to win their respective division. Of course, we're going to include odds being plus 500 or more, to which Ezra and I, of course, did not adhere to. I didn't see it in the rundown, but I mean, I don't know. And
I think it just said one has to be. That's what
did
I
it?
read.
Okay, I don't know. But we're going to start it off with Phil right over here with the Minnesota Wild taking over the Central Division.
Yeah, so I got the Minnesota Wild. So I give credit to Doug, actually, because I didn't know much about hockey until we seen, 2 years ago, watching Colorado Avalanche go against the Tampa Bay Lightning at, Island Wing Company. You know, we went to every finals game. Fortunately, Tampa did not pull it off. But, hey, hopefully they get it one year. So the Minnesota Wild, they have, I hope I say his name correctly, Krill Kaprizov. I hope I say his name right. Okay? Yes, Krill Kaprizov. So this man, I'm sorry, if he stays healthy, he is an MVP candidate. You know, he got hurt last year, which definitely hurt this bad offensive team. You know, and if you listen to this, Krill, stay out of Russia. I heard about that. Okay. Next thing, I compare him, honestly, this team is more like the 2007-2008 Cleveland Cavaliers. You know, he's basically the LeBron James, and he's just carrying this bad offensive team, hopefully to a division win, you know. But one thing that the Minnesota Wild does good, which I'm shocked that Jack does not do this good, because he's from Minnesota, and they play defense, lockdown defense. You know, I think the last two seasons, they were number one on defensive rating. And I believe this year they're projected also to be the number one defensive rated team this year. But, hey, defense do win you game, as you can see from the, I believe, 2014 Broncos defense and the 2000 Ravens defense, where they clearly carry their offense to Super Bowl. So I think that they have a great chance. You know, I know the Colorado Avalanche, they have a very good offensive team, but,
Very
you know,
roster.
I think all they got to do is really just play defense and then just get a couple of goals. You know, they can win 1-0 and you win. So, yeah, I think they have a strong chance. You know, they are at plus 650, you know, but they got a great chance to win their division.
Yeah, and so speaking of your division, Colorado is currently doing poorly in preseason, but is highest in the Central Division in terms of odds of winning the whole thing, or at least winning the division. And Dallas, of course, took it to the conference finals last year. Why do you think them two aren't just, you know, coming to mind when it comes to your division winning?
Well, honestly, I feel like because, you know, they have a great offense when it comes to the Dallas Stars and the Colorado Avalanche. But I think as you know, I'm a defensive person, so I think they are lacking in defense in some way. So the reason why I have Minnesota due to the fact that they have the edge. Now, like I said, if Krill Kaprizov can stay healthy, and all they have to do, because I believe in the preseason right now, they won, I think, most all their games, or they're actually scoring. I think they played the Avalanches a couple of nights ago, and they won 4-2. So they could score in preseason. Hopefully, they could translate that to the regular season and start winning games.
I mean, just about anyone can score in preseason, as we saw with the Tampa Bay Lightning beating the Florida Panthers 2-0. With that being said, I'm going to kick it to Mr. Smethers, who's going to talk about his favorite team, who's going to take the Atlantic.
Well, listen, I don't play about my money, but I'm here to sniff out some value. And then that's going to be the Florida Panthers at plus 550, you know? Listen, they just made it to the Stanley Cup. If they can outlast the injuries to their two better defensemen, Ekblad and Montour, for like the first month, I think they're going to be sitting in perfect position to win this division. Boston Bruins have lost a ton of depth, and their two first and second line centers on that team, they're not going to have their historic season like they did last year. Toronto will be tough. They're regular season champs, but they won't do anything in playoffs. Lightning, they're not going to have Vasi for like 2 months, so the Lightning doesn't look great. So my pick, if I'm looking for value, Panthers had the best value right now.
And do you think what happened last year with the Panthers going all the way to the finals, of course, unfortunately losing to the Las Vegas Golden Knights, do you think that was a fluke by any chance?
Yes.
I mean, kind of. That's hockey. You just get a hot goaltender in the playoffs. That's what carries you to the Stanley Cup. I think they underachieved in regular season, overachieved a little bit in the playoffs, but their goalie got hot at the right time, and that's what happens in hockey.
Written exactly like what happened for the Miami Heat.
I was
The
just
NBA
about to
finals.
say
We looked at each other. We're on the same wavelength.
just
right
about
there.
to say that.
Yeah. And moving on to the opposite side of the country, we're going to be looking at the Pacific winner. I'm rocking with the LA Kings, and they're sitting at plus 450 odds of winning their division. I don't care that the Golden Knights are in there. I got to rock with the Birthtown team. We've got a 4-1 record. LA has a 4-1 record in the preseason, including having beaten the Golden Knights actually in overtime just a couple nights ago on September 27th, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they've been performing well in the preseason. They had a all right year last year, but they have 3 players scoring above 60 points, including Doug. I'm sorry if I mispronounce his name. Anze Kopitar.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Kevin Fiala and Adrian Kempe. And I just want to focus in on the goalie real quick because first off, his name is Phoenix Copley, and he's averaging 2.64 goals allowed per game, which isn't all that good, but it's still 15th in the NHL, which is promising. But if you're the LA Kings, you need to hone in on that defense, particularly on the goalie. And if you want to make a deep playoff run, which I realistically don't think the Kings will make, that's a problem you got to solve. Furthermore, he's averaging 90.3% of shots saved that come his way, which is 30th in the NHL. Sorry, I'm just focused in on segment 2. And yeah, I think they need to work defensively if they want to contend against a team like the Las Vegas Golden Knights. But Doug, I'll pitch it to you. Who do you think is going to make it out of the Pacific?
I mean, in the end, Kings are definitely not going to. They're going to be a wild card team at best.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be coming down to the Golden Knights. The depth on that team is just insane. And then Edmonton Oilers. I mean, you have 2 of the best players in NHL. They're going to be a team to mess with.
It's almost like he looked at the draft book. Edmonton and Las Vegas are the 2 highest ranked teams, or the highest teams for betting odds in terms of winning the Pacific. But last but not least, with the Metro, Ezra, talk to me.
All right, so I'm here to tell you why this young and upcoming team right now is going to start balling. We are talking about the New Jersey Devils. Right now, they sit at odds of plus 240 to win the division. I think they have a very, very, very solid chance. They have such a high-paced offense, high-paced defense, and they weren't very far off of the only team that's above them in the odds at plus 180, the Carolina Hurricanes. So I'm going to say now that these Devils are going to absolutely take off this season. We're talking about like Jack Hughes, their center. He's only 22 years old. He just had 99 points last season. Nico Hischier, another center, 24 years old, had 80 points last season. Great defenseman, Dougie Hamilton. Doug? No, he went off last season. He even had 74 points himself from the defense. We're talking about a very young team. Also, Jack Hughes, I wanted to mention. He's from Orlando area, so gotta love him from heart. And also, he's exactly 1 year older than me. Not that any of that matters, but
I'm older.
But yeah, same birthday and everything. But no, this team is very, very, very underrated. They had a I wouldn't say a good playoff run last season, but they had a tolerable one at least. They beat the Rangers in the first round. They 7 games? And then, of course, they ended up losing to the Carolina Hurricanes in 5. But we're talking about regular season here. Regular season, I think that they could take off. They kind of remind me of this Memphis Grizzlies team from the NBA last season. So I think they could do something similar, if not better.
Yeah, and I hope the LA team knocks them off in the playoffs too.
Yeah, good
But
one.
with that being said, Doug, thank you so much for coming on the show with us. We'll be right back for segment 2, where we're going to be looking at our HTF Fantasy Football League.